to my channel again. Today I'll be discussing with you how my relationship died before it ended. Okay, I know this is you know personal, but I would love to share it with the world, with you guys. Um, just because I want you to learn or pick one or two things from it, and to see how things can go wrong if making the slightest little mistake. Okay, I met this guy. I met him online, and I know the first question that will come to your mind is, why did I go on online dating? It isn't because I wasn't meeting people then. It isn't because I never met someone to tell me I want to marry you. I did, but I was just, I have this mentality of not getting married to a Christian because I'm a Muslim, and then I used to believe if I don't marry a Muslim, it's gonna affect, our relationship one way or the other, or it's gonna affect our kids one way or the other. My own belief then, and the people I was meeting then were Christians. Even while I was in school, the people that mostly approached me were Christians. Let me just say the Muslims that were not my taste. Okay, so I met him. We started dating. In fact, it didn't last like 3 months before we decided to get married. It was all sweet. It was interesting. It was all over me. Do interesting things. Carry my bag. He doesn't get angry. Doesn't get angry. We go out together, make jokes, and cook, sweep the floor. So many things. I was like, wow, this is my kind of man. Maybe because I'm this person that I live in fantasy, so I believe they should be able to be like that. So when I introduced him to my dad, and my dad was like, this guy isn't it? He's not real. I was like, no, Dad, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. This guy is a whole complete gentleman. He does the cooking, he sweep the floor. He doesn't let me do anything. He washes clothes, even wash mine sometimes. Come to meet me at my serving state where I was serving, and that was at Abeokuta, Nigeria here. Would come, do some laundry for me, help me with some things, we dance together, we do things together. It was so sweet. My mom fell in love with him, because then if you should talk to my mom, it's always all sweet, talk to her but even while talking, he quotes the Quran and all that, like a typical alpha, and, and the rest. So then I told him, I said, look, okay, this is me. I let him know this is the whole of me. I'm not too good with what's it called, with house chores and all that, but cooking, yeah, I'm good to go. But there's some things you just need to know. It was like, there's no need, there's no problem. I shouldn't worry. It's there. It's going to do this. So, fine, no problem. Okay. So we continued, and at the long run, he told me, he went for a surgery and he's paying some loan and all. Because I asked him, I said, come, guy, how much do you earn? Bro, one way or the other, I was able to boycott the question and told me he was paying off some loan and all that. He went for a surgery in India, and since then he has not been able to finish payment. And I asked, how long will it take you to complete the loan. He said, okay, it's going to take him like um, it's going to take him like less than a year, they say. I said, okay, fine. If that's the case, I think I can cope. I'll let you continue paying your loan. Then I'll take up the what's it called, responsibility for a while, pending the time. And when you're done with the loan, please, you have to take up the responsibilities. I just want to help out. He was so happy. He was glad. He was, almost crying and thanking me for that. Like, no problem. It's okay. At least if you're a good person, doesn't matter. As long as you're good, money is not all that really matters. Okay, so I told my parents. My dad wasn't approved of it. Like, he never approved of it. He was like, no, this person is too fake. And my mom, because she's not here, but you know the way he talked to her phone, everybody will like him at that point. Like, if you are the one, you're gonna like him. Trust me. At that moment, you're gonna like him. So we did our akid. That's like Islamic introduction, and after 2 weeks, so I was pregnant. He was happy. The day I told him, was very happy. But something happened between myself and my mom. We had a disagreement then that it was a big one. So my aunt called him the next day after I told him I was pregnant. They know this. I think this third day. Okay, she come down to the house that she needs to talk to him. My auntie was trying to make him, come so he could talk to me. He could make me feel happy, different, because of my states at that moment. So my aunt called him and tried to talk to him. This was what happened. This was what happened. Oh my God, you need to see this guy, the way he flew up, like everything changed about him, like everything changed. Like the mood, I felt like I didn't tell him that I was pregnant. Oh sorry, like I didn't tell him I'm getting pregnant. We never had an agreement. And it was like, that wasn't the discussion, that she just discussed something with now. The next thing, jumped up and was angrily leaving the room. And I called him, I rushed to the door. I called him, I was like, what happened? Are you angry? Why are you angry? Did she say anything bad? It was like, the fact that I'm pregnant, he's not happy with it. So what do you mean? Said we both didn't agree I was going to be pregnant. That you're not happy with this pregnancy. I was like, God. And my auntie called him to like, is it a joke? I was like, no, that this wasn't our agreement. If it wasn't your agreement, then why did you go into this kind of wedding you have? When you know you don't want to like look like a pregnant, or you don't want to be pregnant. And besides, a few days ago you were happy that she was pregnant. So what changes? Like, I think God just, wanted me to see what I was studying. I was studying. I was scared. I was already like picturing my future. I see in the future, like, this is what it's going to be like. If it could be doing this now, that means the future is in balance. So I angrily left that day. I stayed at my auntie's house for a few months, like I think 3 or 4 months, before I could put myself together. Even when I was with my aunt, it didn't show up. Like, it didn't show up at all. He didn't come there to even check on me, or to check on the pregnancy, or to check how I was doing. Like, if I don't call him, he doesn't call. I was like, okay. So later on, my mom, she's my mom. We fight, we come back together, and all that. We're best friends, and at the same time, we fight a lot. So I knew we were going to like settle everything eventually, but he didn't know that. So I called him. He said, well, my mom said two things and all that. And I'm coming back home. Um, I went home. You know, started with him. There was nothing in the house. There was nothing. Like, so it's my aunt's help and my mom. You know, my aunt's the ones in UK. He supported me with some funds. Like every month, he supports me with funds so I can, you know, take care of myself and take care of my baby. And my mom too did the same thing. And you know, it was going so well. I was doing things in the house. I changed everything, but everything, like eventually everything, in fact everything in the house, let me just put it that way. And you know, just to make myself and the baby comfortable, you know, and to relieve him of the stress, make him focus on paying off his loan. And at that point I wasn't asking him for what's it called, the feeding money and all that, because I already told him I was going to give him space to finish paying his loan, and which I did. I was doing there. But you know, I was expecting as a husband to say, oh, okay, just take this, take this. So I was a baby, how I'm going to get the baby things. But it wasn't even like concerned about anything. Like it wasn't concerned whether I'm going to have the baby or not. You just come home, normal, great, and go in. He might stay on his laptop, like from the moment he comes home till when he sleep off. And the next morning, he moved. And on and on and on. It went on like that. You know, though he started adjusting with me, you know, coming all over me again, being my friend, like that, blah blah blah. We went for registry, and the registry was with the fact that I was traveling. That was the plan then. You know, we planned that I was going to meet my mom with my baby, and my dad was to do that for us. So he quickly did the registry arrangement and all that. Although, which made me sponsored, but there's no problem. I wasn't bothered about it. And you know, after all that, we got to do our passports. He gave me money for the passport actually, because he was very eager for me and the child to leave the country after I had the child. So he did the passport for the both of us, and after some time we left where we were because it wasn't conducive, like the environment and all that. But the left to him, he doesn't mind, like it doesn't mind at all. But I mind because I consider where I raised my child, where he was staying. There, what's it called? There are these dogs that smoke, you know, in their hands and all that. So I was particular about it, and the kind of, you know, kids around there. I was particular about how my child is going to grow. So left to me, I have my taste of how a child should grow, because I deal with kids. I teach, I host kids programs, and you know, I deal with them a lot, so I know the setting. Yeah, so I fought for that as well. It was like, no, we should stay here. It doesn't matter where a child grows up. The all matter is putting the fear of God in him. I said, no, it's not all about that. Fear of God, yeah, but the environment also matters. Fear of God, giving him those ones that that's a part. But the environment your child is going to grow up is also a very big deal. So it's a big deal for me. We fought that for a very long while. I said, doesn't have the money. I said, you can't just say that. Every time you keep saying you don't have this money, you don't have this money. Okay, now you told me you're going to finish off your loan before a year or so. And you should be over by now. It was like, that you still have some loans you collected. I said, you didn't tell me about that. You only told me you got a loan from your workplace and the bank. and you told me you have less than a year to pay off. So what are we saying here? It's like I did this. I was like, look, if there is nothing, if there's something you're doing that I don't know, then I don't know. It's not my fault that I don't know. And I don't think that counts in the family if I don't know. You don't even tell me about your affairs. You don't tell me anything about workplace. You just come home, you sleep, you wake up. You don't tell me anything. I don't know anything about you. I don't know anything about your friends. The friends I knew before I got married to you, I don't know them again. You don't talk to them again. I'm not even in your family, what's it called? Family group. They have a group in the family. All the member of the family is out there. I wasn't there. I wasn't included. If anything was going on in the family, I don't know. I was excluded. I actually don't know if anything was going on in the family. So all this, made me stood my ground that no, we have to change this place. I don't know what you are up to. He was like, literally, he called my mom. At this point, at this moment, he was always talking to my mom. Like, it stayed a very long time. You can spend like 2 hours, 5 hours. Let me not exaggerate. You can spend 2 hours, 3 hours on the phone with my mom talking a big deal. Sometimes I'll be sleeping, I will sleep and I'll wake up. Like, that was before I gave birth to the child. Like, always talking to my mom, always. And at that moment, he knew my mom was gonna, like, my mom was sending stuffs for my baby, like sending in stuffs for my baby, and he knew everything I was doing. He had this mentality that, yeah, it's my mom doing it and all that. So it was, around my people that were giving me money. So he called my mom and was like, you need more help for the house and all that. My mom was like, she doesn't have the money. Where does he want her to get the money and all that? That was where he started from, like, distancing himself from my mom. So I got this money, like about, I think, 500 or 600,000. I wanted to use it for my business. So I borrowed him about 300,000 from the money, and he promised to refund it. Before I know it, he told me he collected another loan to get the house from his workplace. After I have borrowed you 300, you still went ahead to collect a loan. I told you not to get a loan. I said, don't get a loan. Let's deal with what we have now. If you keep getting this loan, at the end of the day, it's going to affect me. It's going to affect the house. It's going to affect the child. You keep saying you don't have money. Anytime I ask you for money for the family, you don't have, and yet you still go to get the loan. How long will I keep doing all this? We fought the house like for several days, and she apologized and all that and all that. Fine, no problem. So couple with what he had, we had a date and got the apartment. We did everything, like everything in the house, and moved what we had in the former house. In fact, I did the moving, I did everything. In fact, I looked for the house, I did all that. No problem. I was okay with it. But this guy will never ask, have you guys eaten? What are you cooking? Is there food in the house? If I don't fight, if I don't struggle to get money from him, I hardly get money from him. Sometimes in a month, he can send us 10K to buy food stuff for the month. Highest he has ever given us to buy food stuff for the house, highest was 20K, and I think that should be like once or twice. For the past 2 years, I've been with him. All that went on like that. So I started complaining. My mom too, voiced out, started complaining. And there's something about my mom. If something is going wrong with me, she always knows. Like, she gets to know. So she started calling, his big sister and, complaining to her, all that. So the big sister would call me. I I will explain to her that this is what is going on. So whenever the big sister tell him to do something, he will do it for that period. After that, he goes back to his normal self. This is the same person, you know. A lot of things change. Like, there were a lot of things into the marriage. Like, he told me he doesn't drink. Like, he doesn't drink. He's a typical alpha. Like, he doesn't drink. I don't know why he got the idea that if he should tell me that he drinks, I will marry him. I don't know why he got the idea. I wasn't an Ijabite or any of that. No, I don't know why he tried to like make himself so modest. So one day, although I've noticed this several times, that he drinks, like he drinks from outside and come home drunk, and sometimes he will sleep off. Like, gosh, you're smelling. You stink, like you stink alcohol. You stink like nothing. Maybe because he hasn't brushed. So I was like, this is not it. It's not about brushing. I said this is alcohol. So like 4 times like that, I got him. So there was a day he couldn't hide it because he was misbehaving already with influence of alcohol. I know he was already misbehaving, like was high, like. So when he was sober, he came to me. I was like, and I only took wine. I said, wine, what wine? The red wine is red wine. Alcohol, not alcohol. I was like, just red wine. I said, stop it. Stop trying to make me feel like I'm crazy. He was like, when he asked me, can he be buying his drinks, his alcoholic drink in the fridge, so he won't need to like go outside to get. I said, why would you lie to me at the first place that you don't drink? If you drink, fine, what's the big deal? People are out there, they drink and they still live their normal life. Why would you lie to me that you don't drink? Now you come to the house drunk, misbehaving, without me knowing you drink. I said, definitely there are a lot of things you were hiding from me. In which year there were a lot of things he was hiding. He lied to me about his salary. I didn't know about his salary. He was lying and lying until I finally saw the alert that he was receiving more than he told me he was receiving. I got mad. I got broken bone. At the same time, it is all good. Okay, there was a day, there's this thing he does. Ever since I got pregnant with my child, he never sleep with me on the bed. We don't sleep together, like we don't sleep as husband and wife together. He sleeps in the sitting room and I sleep in the room with the child. So several times I go to him, why would you be doing this? Why would you sleep in the sitting room and leaving us in the room? Like, it's not fair. Like, you're making things, you're keeping distance, you're making us distance, you're breaking the bond and all that. He told me because he was thinking and all that. How does that got to relate to it? You sleeping with your family or sleeping with your wife? So I called the sister, I explained to her. The sister called him, I spoke to him. He moved his, duvet to the room, but still sleep on the floor. So I was like, wow, okay. I left it that way. Until one day I called him. I said, look, aren't you a man? Because, let me say, since I had my child, in fact, before I had my child, at a point he stopped having sex with me, like, totally. That wasn't even the problem then, because I myself, I'm not that a freak. So, at a point, I told my aunt, who I talked to a lot, she told me to have sex with him and tell him I was pregnant, which I did. I told him I was pregnant. He was mad. Like, how can I be pregnant? This. Blah, 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 blah. He told me he doesn't want more than a child. He just wants a child. it's not going beyond one. He can't do more than one child these days. That he wants to treat his child like a king. I said, if you want to treat your child like a king, doesn't mean that we should have just one child. It's like, no, that wants to give him everything and this and that. That I should go and abort the child. I should go and abort the pregnancy. Someone that does not have money actually, gave me money. No, I was holding some of his money because I make sure every month he saves the house rent in my hands, because I don't want to hear story. He has been giving me a story of no money, no money. But for the house rent, it will get to that stage and you tell me you don't have money for the house rent. So he told me to take from the money, to take 30,000. I should abort the child. I was like, wow. My auntie said I should take the money. I should take it. I should spend it on myself and my baby, since he's not responsible. He doesn't give us money anyway. So I should take the money, which I did. So even after that, he didn't come back to say, how are you? I'm sorry. This is why I asked you to do it. So how do you feel? You feel bad? Do you feel pains? Like, he has this nonchalant attitude. That's one thing about him. He has this nonchalant attitude. He doesn't care. Like, he painted himself like someone who cares, like someone who really has this, compassion and everything. But reality, he has none. In which, when all this was happening, at a point he stopped talking to my mom. And even since that time I told him I was pregnant, since then till we broke up or till we ended the relationship, there was nothing between us. So I don't know why that happened. Maybe he was scared I wouldn't say I was pregnant again or anything, I don't know. But when I asked him, he said he was thinking about money. Okay, fine, so I believed him, it was about money. They stopped talking to my mom, someone that can't do without talking to my mom, someone that can't just do without that woman. When things was rosy, when she does everything and give everything, all of a sudden, because my mom said, fine, now you guys are okay on your own. Try to take up your responsibilities and don't ask for my help. Since then, this guy called my auntie, started saying a lot of things, like my parents think he can't live without them. They think without them you cannot be this, you cannot that. I was like, what does that got to do with my parents? And the next thing was like, well, anyway, that if he knows whatever happens, he's going to do his own things, and he doesn't care whatever anyone thinks. My auntie was like, wow, why is this guy like this? He has become weird and all that. So I started complaining. He started giving this attitude. Like, the attitude was just too much. It was too much. He stopped giving me money. He stopped doing so many things in the house. Sometimes he will leave, he will not come home. So there was this particular day, he said, there was this particular day he went out, and he came back to the house. I called him and I asked him why he's doing all this. That if he does not want this relationship again, no problem, it is fine. But at least for my son, for our son, we shouldn't be like this all the time. Do you know what he told me? He said, do I want to go? I said, do I want to go? Do you want me to go? If you want me to go, it's fine. Get the divorce paper ready. He was like, he's not going to give me a divorce paper. I should be the one to give him the divorce paper. Like, he threatened me with the divorce paper. He took away the marriage certificate. He didn't drop it. He said, even his sister called me for a divorce paper. his sister told him not to get the divorce paper because he is going to spend money. If he should be the one to, get the divorce paper, he should tender it. He's going to spend it. So they don't want to spend the money. They want me and my family to spend the money. So he was doing a lot of things to frustrate me, just to make sure, he knows I get tired quickly. So he knows if he should do all that, I'll tender the divorce paper. So I didn't. At first, I almost did, but later on, I did not. Okay, where is my marriage certificate? He already took it. He took it. He gave it to his parents, to his mom. There was a day. This issue becomes violence that I was trying to. Okay, I reported him to my family, and his family came. They came to my family house, and we both tender our side of the story. So they asked me if I wanted the relationship back. I said no, because I've faced a lot already. Then they asked me. He said he wanted the relationship. And there's something about him. I don't know if men can just be real. There's something about him. He's this person that his appearance is not what he is actually. He can come outside, be all gentle and all that, very respectful. But when it's just me and him, he will talk just the way he's talking. Do you want to go? You can go. Just get the divorce. Like he just needed the divorce paper. Like he just needed the divorce paper from me. He doesn't want to spend the money. So he needed it, but he doesn't want to spend the money. So that was the bone of contention. He needed me to leave. He needed the divorce, but he doesn't want to be the one to tender it. So that day we go home after they've spoken with both of us. I didn't go immediately. I didn't want to. Like I was scared. I was anxious. Like I was nervous. My dad was angry. He said he just want me to go no matter what, even if it's going to beat me, even if it's going to. I felt my parents hated me. Well, as parents, they don't want me to, they don't want me to leave their husband's house, which is normal. So when I got back to the house, he already packed my things. He packed my things, moved my things to my room. But he didn't touch the TV, the furniture and all that. But they were my things too. He only packed my my cooking utensils and my clothes and a few other things. Put them one side. So when we go, he started talking to me that since I've gone to tell my parents he doesn't touch me, now he wants to touch me. He started like dragging with me, dragging my clothes. Like there's something about him. Whenever we have an argument and his parents call him or his sister call him, he will tell them, my hand is paining, so I can't like drag with her. In which this is what you do. You drag with me, you like create scene. At the end of the day, you call them, you'll be the one creating that scene, and you'll be the one calling his families. Started. There was a day. There was something that happened. We had an argument, and he was pushing me inside my baby's wardrobe, like folding me inside my baby's wardrobe. He was also calling his family, putting it on speaker to hear me screaming, and they heard me screaming. He was telling them that I was causing trouble, but I wonder why his family did realize I was screaming out of pain. The next thing, his mom and dad came to the house. They called my dad and said he told them that my dad arrested him dad locked him in the police station. My dad didn't even know what was going on. I didn't even tell my dad. My mouth was already swollen, like beating, and everything, pinning me down and everything. I didn't even tell my dad. His mom's dad came around, and when they said that, I told them, I said, how did my dad lock your son up? Now this is your son. They didn't even feel they were at fault there. They saw my body, they saw my mouth, how swollen it was and all that. They didn't even ask if it was the one that did that. They believe his hand is paining him, so he cannot do anything. And that was a big lie, because that hand he used that hand more than he used his normal hand that wasn't paining him. So I felt like I was just used, to set something, or let me say I was used to recover some things. And after that, when my service wasn't needed again, I was being tossed away. I was like, they were finding a way to toss me away, because even his mom was all acting up. There was a day his mom called. Okay, there was something that happened one day. That night, I said he almost tore my clothes, dragging with me, trying to force me to sleep with me. It was during Ramadan, we were fasting. So I was cooking in the kitchen when he started all that, and I was able to rush outside. And after I thought everything was cool. I went back to the kitchen and I continued my cooking. Then he came to meet me in the kitchen while I was cooking. I was like, I knew that we have to continue. Nobody will sleep this night again. That it was trying to frustrate me and get the anger out of me. And I was warning him the next thing. In fact, and at that moment I was like, okay, let me see if we can use this Ramadan to make things work out and all that. I warned him. I said, look, you are making trouble and you're trying to frustrate me. You are really, really frustrating me, and that is not fair. So the next thing, the next morning, I was even normal me. Whenever we have an argument like that, I do the apologizing. I apologize to him. So I apologized, said, I'm sorry, whatever we did yesterday, it wasn't called for. And whatever I might have done, please forgive me. Because at that moment, I felt he was just trying to get back at me. So the next thing, he already called his family and said, I want to kill him. Seriously, I want to kill him and all that. And his mom called my mom, please go and take your child. This. Okay. My dad was like, what happened? I explained to my dad. My dad said I shouldn't say anything again. Whenever I report me to my dad will be asking, why do you always report your wife like you want to get a trophy out of it? Do you want to get a trophy while reporting your wife? A lot of things he will say, he will be the one to, end it himself again. So there was this thing that happened again. So it got to a time, his mom called my landlord, where I got the house from, where I paid the house rent. Called my landlord and told him not to allow me in the house again. They locked me outside for a good 5 days without knowing where I was sleeping, where my child was sleeping. He locked me and my child outside with the girl staying with me, taking care of my child. He locked us up outside for 5 good days. That's mom who called my landlord never cared what happened to us. What if I don't have a parent to run to? What if my father wasn't there to take my child from me? I was going there every day. I couldn't enter. It changed my case. It changed the case to the house. I couldn't enter. My clothes were outside. And I called the sister to report to the sister. The sister told me that if I want to leave, or if I want to pick anything in the house, I should go and get the divorce letter ready. They are ready to receive the divorce letter. And she is waiting for the divorce letter. Whoa. It's like, is that it? I was like, is that it? Waiting for the divorce letter. Fine, no problem. Then I left. That very night, I slept in the hotel. That was the first night I was locked outside because it was late. It was around 10 or 11. I was with my child, so we slept in the hotel. What if something had happened to us that very night? What if something had happened to us? I thought he was someone that was caring, but everything he did, everything doesn't show he cares for me or the child. He really wanted to have, like, okay, have a child, just a child, just for them to know, yes, he has a child. Like, ever since I had this child, he has never for once asked. I always struggle, fighting every time, just to make sure he's responsible. I fight for him to be responsible. I fight for him to be responsible. If I don't fight him to all do this, he doesn't give my child anything, he give me anything. So after everything all said and done, there was a day his mom called. Okay, there was something that happened one day. That night, I said he almost like tore my clothes, like dragging with me, trying to force me to sleep with me. Like, it was during Ramadan, we were fasting. So I was cooking in the kitchen when he started all that, and I was able to rush outside. And after everything was, I thought everything was cool. I went back to the kitchen and I continued my cooking. Then he came to meet me. The kitchen where I was cooking was like, I know that we have to continue. Nobody will sleep this night again. This, he was trying to frustrate me and get the anger out of me. And I was warning him. The next thing, in fact, and at that moment I was like, okay, let me see if we can use this Ramadan to, to make things work out and all that. I warned him. I said, look, you are making trouble and you're trying to frustrate me. You are really, really frustrating me, and that is not fair. So the next thing, the next morning, I was even like normal me. Whenever we have an argument like that, I do the apologizing. I apologize to him. So I apologized, said, I'm sorry, whatever we did yesterday, it wasn't called for. And whatever I might have done, please forgive me. Because at that moment, I felt he was just trying to get back at me. So the next thing, he already called his family and said, I want to kill him. Like, seriously, like, I want to kill him and all that. And his mom called my mom, please go and take your child. This. Like, okay. My dad was like, what happened? I explained to my dad. Dad said I shouldn't say anything again. Whenever I report me to my dad will be asking, why do you always report your wife like you want to get a trophy out of it? Do you want to get a trophy while reporting your wife? A lot of things he will say, he will be the one to, end it himself again. So there was this thing that happened again. So it got to a time his mom called my landlord, where I got the house from, where I paid the house rent. Called my landlord and told him not to allow me in the house again. They locked me outside for good 5 days without knowing where I was sleeping, where my child was sleeping. He locked me and my child outside with the girl staying with me, taking care of my child. He locked us up outside for 5 good days. That mom who called my landlord never cared what happened to us. What if I don't have a parent to run to? What if my father wasn't there to take my child from me? I was going there every day. I couldn't enter. It changed my keys. It changed the keys to the house. I couldn't enter. My clothes were outside. And I called the sister to report to the sister. The sister told me that if I want to leave, or if I want to pick anything in the house, I should go and get the divorce letter ready. They are ready to receive the divorce letter. So since I've left his house, but he has not really tried to see the child. No, I was even the one trying to make sure he's responsible for the child. I just wanted him to, even though you don't want me again, even though you don't like me again, because he has made it clear he doesn't like me or he doesn't want me again, and we both agreed, we don't want the relationship again. But at least for the child, I was thinking he should be responsible for his child and all that. I even tried to, go to what's it called? So I have some with him just to make sure, okay, he takes his responsibility for his child. But he wasn't ready to, and the case was dismissed, and they concluded that they were not able to, settle it and all that. So even after that, I still try, to talk to him and talk to his family why it is necessary for him to just look after his child. And I did that because he made a statement one time that after all, that he gave me the child. After all, when the child grew up, the child is going to be the father. There's no amount of money or anything I do. So I wonder why, or I can't still believe men still think that way these days. He just don't want to be responsible. That's the conclusion. He wasn't born to be responsible. He just needed someone to, lift him up. He was in a mood. He was in a mood then, so he wanted someone that washed the mud off him at that moment. So he saw me as an opportunity, as the water to help him wash the mud off him. The minute he realized, okay, he can't get anything again, because I declared no, I'm not going to continue again. And my mom too wasn't in the picture again, so there was nothing for him with me again. So everything ended like that, just because of that. Because I see no reason why a man would just blank off you like that. Nothing. I didn't do anything to you. I didn't it's not like he caught me cheating. No. Ever since he has known me, I've never been this type of person that lock my phone. Even till date, I'm not this type of person that lock my phone. No. So I'm always free with my phone. Even when I met him too, at first he wasn't locking his phone. I know his password, but later on, he locks it. I dare not have access to his phone again. No, I'm not bothered about that. Yes, I don't check his phone anyway, so I wasn't bothered. So it's it's kind of like, I don't know if it's a good news or a bad news, but I just know, the relationship got bad from the beginning. Like, it's got bad even before we ended everything. So I hope there is a better person for everybody out there, and we are able to see true people before we agree to spend the rest of our life with them. So now he doesn't want to go to court for the proper divorce, but he wants to leave me, and he want me to move on with my life and him move on with his life. But because he doesn't want to spend money, even though I told him, okay, let's spend the money together, we can do the divorce together. I gave him a lot of options. I gave him a very long route, a lot of options for the divorce, but he wanted me to do everything and all that. I gave him a lot of, long route for him to be responsible. From the beginning, I fought him to be responsible for his child. I just want him to be a father. I want him to be there for his child and all that. But unfortunately, he didn't take the offer. Even after I left him, I still try, to make him responsible. Maybe he will, maybe he will not. So let's see. Let's see what is going to happen after now. So I will be fine. We'll be fine. So that's all for today. And thanks for following me on my channel. Thanks for subscribing. The watchers, thank you for dedicating your time. And there's a lot more for you on this channel. Just take care. Stay tuned. Today is different, but tomorrow will be better.